Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder as I step off the train and deliver an episode to you while I walk home. I'm Brendan Riley. Well, good afternoon, listeners. It's a kind of drizzly night here in suburban Chicago. And you know what that means? More road noise than usual. Whenever cars go by, they're going to be extra noisy. So I may do a little bit more pausing and editing than usual. If I've been counting correctly, and I think I have, this is the first episode of Season 7. Because, yes, this is the first episode of Season 7, episode number 601 of Pick Up and Deliver. Now, in every year up till now, episode 1 has been roughly January 25th of the season. And this year I got behind in the winter, and then January was really busy, and so I was still 20 some episodes away when January rolled around. So I ended the episode at the end of March. It's now the beginning of April, and I'm starting the new season. We'll see. This one's just going to go as long as it does. There's part of me that has a fantasy that I'm going to file enough episodes that I will finish around December 15th or December 20th with the season, but that would be a significant uptick in production over what I usually do. So who knows what we'll do. I'm just going to be in it for the fun now. For those of you new to the podcast, welcome. Season 7 is here. And as is often the case, the first episode of a month, I do a very particular kind of episode. I do the top of the stack. Feels like it's been a couple of months since I mentioned it. So top of the stack is a format I swiped from the beloved podcast of Nonsensical Gamers, where they used to do a segment each episode where they would talk about games they want to play that are sort of sitting on top of their metaphorical stack, or it might have been an actual stack, I don't know. In my house it is. I'll get the games that are in the top of the stack out and I bring them upstairs so they're ready to play if I need them. As an aside, one of the hosts of the podcast of Nonsensical Gamers was Dan Halstead, who is the designer of Bees and more recently Aqua, which just came out and has been getting a fair amount of coverage. So good on you, Dan. Dan's also the person who introduced me to Baron Park, which is one of my favorites. So beginning of the month, it's the top of the stack episode, which is where I review my play experience from the previous month and talk a little bit about what I'm planning to do next month. So if you're brand new to the podcast, maybe this isn't the very best episode to listen to because it's a lot of sort of reading of lists and such, but I'll try to make it interesting nonetheless. So this month in March, I picked out 4 games, and the goal is to play 3 of them during that month. They're all games I haven't played before, although that's not always the case. That was the case this month. And the 4 games were Forum Trajanum, Bastion, Hunted Woad Ridge, and Medieval Academy. And I did not get Forum Trajanum or Hunted Woad Ridge played, but I did manage to succeed at playing Bastion and Medieval Academy. So I got 2 of my 4 played, which is about the same as last month and the same as January. So I am now at 6 out of 9 potential plays in my top of the stacks. If I just change my goal to 2, I'm hitting 100%. And I'm not going to do that, but there it is. All right, time for some stats. I had 85 gameplays of 56 different games this month, which comes out to a total of 218 plays of 98 different games. As usual, many of those plays are in digital form on Board Game Arena. I made significant progress on my shelf of opportunity, reducing it from 66 to 61 plays, and my collection size went up 1 game from 578 to 579. Now that's not in the right direction. The goal is to make a smaller collection, not a bigger collection, but given that some months I end up with like 4 or 5 games, if I have a strong visit to a Goodwill, one game isn't so bad. Also, I bought the game with points, credit card points, so it was like free money. That's gamer math right there, baby. Okay, the most played game this month in real life was Aeon's End, which we played 4 times, and my most played game online were Gaia Project and Daybreak, each of which I played 4 times. My plays of Through the Ages have slowed down a little bit. I have 1 person I'm playing with regularly, but at one point I was playing regular games of Through the Ages with 3 people. That has died off a bit, so that's okay. I've played that game so many times, I don't need to play it every moment. On to first plays. I had 10 games that I played this month for the first time. These were new to me games. They're not all brand new publications. In fact, I think none of them are brand new publications, but they were first time to me. So they are Dream Home, Medieval Academy, Forest Shuffle on Board Game Arena, Wormspan, Charty Party, Herd Mentality, Titanic, that's the 2020 release designed by Daryl Adams and Adrian Adamescu with Leonardo and Kate Winslet on the cover, not the older Titanic themed game. Smart-ish, Aeon's End, and Bastion. So a good game I will be talking about, or a good month. I will be talking about a lot of those new games in upcoming episodes, although I still have some games from February to cover, so it'll be a little while before I'm talking about those, but you'll have to hold your breath until I do. I played one expansion this month. I'm keeping on the pace of, that's 20, by the way, that's 21 new games I've played thus far this year. Pretty good pace. In terms of expansions, I played one expansion this month. It was the Forgotten Waters DLC Pack 1, The Kraken's Eye. If you haven't played Forgotten Waters, it's a delight. I will post a link to my previous review of Forgotten Waters in the show notes. It's a storytelling game, or it's a story reading game, I guess. It has a light adventure element and lots of choices to make. It's a kind of a choose your own adventure game with a bit of randomness. It's very funny, pretty enjoyable. I really like it. We've been playing Freelancers lately, which is like the new version of it, but they did release this one DLC pack, which we downloaded and enjoyed. It was good, but it's one adventure. It took us almost 5 hours to play. We played in 2 halves. And I guess there were 5 of us playing, and it took about 5 hours, and it was $10. So that's not a terrible deal, you know, when you compare it to like an Exit game, which is $15, and you play it in an hour. That's a pretty good deal, but I'm not sure whether I thought it was worth it or not. Yeah, we had a good time. I'll say it was worth it. Almost anything else we'd have paid where I had to pay $10 to do it would have been shorter and not as much fun. We had a good time with it. That's the Forgotten Waters DLC Pack 1. I played a couple more games. I got a couple more games out of the dust. As a reminder, a game is dusty if I've gone a year or more without playing it. So I get a game out of the dust when I play it again. That's like I have dusted it off. And I had 3 games that I played out of the dust this month. The first one was Sushi Go. I hadn't played Sushi Go in a while. In fact, it had been 1 year, 5 months, and a day between this time and last time. Sushi Go is always a winner. It used to be a very regular staple in our household. We've kind of outgrown it a little bit, but it is always excellent. I don't have Sushi Go Party. I did play it online once. I didn't count it as a play because I feel like I didn't really, I don't know. Sometimes I count online plays as plays. Sometimes when I play a new game, I don't count it as a play because I didn't feel like I grasped the game enough. It's kind of weird, I'll admit. But yeah, so Sushi Go, we played that. It had been a year. Then we played Potion Explosion, which had been 1 year, 1 month, and 6 days since the last time I played that. And that might have been since the last digital play. Who knows how long it had been since the last audio play. Or who knows how long it had been since the last real life play I did on Potion Explosion. But that game's always fun. I really enjoy it. I haven't really played it with super strong competitors in person. When I say super strong competitors, I mean people who have played the game enough to kind of get how it works. One of the people I played with got it pretty fast and kept pace with me, but it took him a round or two, and that's the kind of game where once you get ahead, it's really hard to catch up. So that was a good time. That was 1 year, 1 month, and 6 days. And then Century Golem Edition, we hadn't played in a while either. I like Century. I have all 3 of the games and I enjoy them all, but the first one is just head and shoulders above the others. It is really, really good. And that was 1 year, 8 months, and 19 days since the last time I played that. That makes 7 games this year so far. I've dusted off, averaging just over 2 a month. If I keep up that pace, that's not bad. 24 in a year. I'd expect to be more than that, but you never know. A lot of the games that I play, I keep in regular circulation, so getting older games back to the table is a little harder. I've added a new category to my logging on Board Game Geek because I am trying to get games played more often. I'll sometimes have plays that I think are interesting and I want to mention, but they don't fit any of the other categories I'm tracking, so I'm calling these notable plays. If I have a play of a game that just I wanted to mention on the podcast, I put it under notable plays, so here they are. I got to play Altiplano again. This game continues to reward. I might have to go back. I do really like Altiplano, but I think I'm shifting back to liking Orleans more. The box in Altiplano is better. If you haven't played either of them, they're both bag builders where you're buying chips and putting them in a bag, or tokens, and then you pull the tokens out and you get to spend the tokens. In Orleans, you just put the tokens right in the bag when you buy new tokens. And as a result, because you're always putting the used tokens back in the bag, you might not ever get tokens you buy. Like you could buy a token and then, you use a couple tokens, put them in, you draw the ones you used again. Unless you're taking a concerted effort to really get rid of the ones you're using, which is hard to do, you might end up never drawing one of the tiles you've bought. And that stinks. By contrast, in Altiplano, you only refill the bag after you've emptied it. And you put the tokens you're using in a little box, and then you dump them all in once you empty the bag. So it actually takes a little bit longer usually to get a chip you've purchased because you have to put it in the box first. So except in very rare circumstances, you almost never draw the tile you just bought on the turn after you buy it. But by contrast, you'll never, any chip you buy in the first half of the game, you definitely will get to see because you'll empty out the bag. So, but I do really like Altiplano, and I really like it with the Traveler expansion, and I haven't played with that in a while, so that may need to get back out to the table again. Sagrada Artisans, my wife and I finished the campaign of that. That was a lot of fun. We have a whole bunch of bonus windows for it, so I imagine we'll keep playing it for a while. If you get a chance to play Sagrada Artisans, if you like Sagrada, it's well worth it, I think. Really fun. I guess if I'm doing the same analysis of the per game cost that I put on Forgotten Waters on Sagrada Artisans, it's pretty close to the same, roughly the same. Oh, there's a turtle dove, or a mourning dove, excuse me. Sagrada Artisans was a delight. That's a legacy game, by the way. You're coloring in a coloring book, and over the course of the game, you are learning about, or you're playing different stained glass windows and rolling dice and stuff. It's pretty great. I liked it a lot. Weather Machine, I got to play again. Feels like I'm getting the hang of it now, but I just got clobbered early on. Actually, my son played with us, and early on, he made a move that kind of cut my knees out from under me, and instead of backing off, I kind of doubled down on it, and it was a terrible choice. And I ended up with like 20 points less than my son, who ended up with like 10 points less than the winner. So, clobbered. On my 10 for 10 progress, you'll remember that this year, the 10 for 10 is categories of games, and we are trucking along nicely. We've completed 2 categories, the Legacy/Campaign category and the Alphabet A through J category are done. Several of the other categories are over 5, and we're at a total of 47 out of 100 plays already in March, which is a great start. Now, the reality of 10 for 10s is they always get much harder as it goes along because the later ones are games you have to really go out of your way to play, so I'm going to try to get some of those up. We did get our first novelty game played, that was Titanic. I think I'm going to put one of those on my top of the stack this month. No painting done this month, bummer. My Shelf of Opportunity I've kind of talked about. And that just brings us to the question of what games I'm going to play for next month. I'm going to die on this hill. I am keeping Hunted Woad Ridge as the solo game. I'm going to play that eventually. And when I do, yeehaw, it's going to be great. So Hunted Woad Ridge will stay as my priority game to play for solo games. My heavier game that I want to play is Porta Nigra, or Porta Nigra, I guess. This is the Stronghold game from Kiesling in 2015. It's a very well-regarded Euro game about, building stuff in Rome. I got it at a Goodwill for not nothing. It was like $8 or $10, but it's a game that's pretty well-regarded, so I'm looking forward to trying that. And then I think I'm going to pick a novelty game to try to play this month because I want to. So what novelty game am I going to put on there? Well, it is the month of the Titanic sinking, April. So I'm going to say one of my other Titanic games. I have 2. I have Titanic, the board game, and I have Raise the Titanic, which is a game based on a Clive Cussler novel or movie. Both look silly in their own ways, and I'm going to play one of them this month. And then finally, I usually pick just one other game that I'm excited to play from the collection. Let's try Alien Artifacts again. This is a game I've really wanted to get played, and I've put it on the list a couple times, and I never seem to make it stick. This month, I'm going to make it stick, or I'm going to try. So my 4 games are Porta Nigra, Hunted Woad Ridge, Raise the Titanic, or Titanic the board game, and Alien Artifacts. So the big question then, what games have you been playing? What games did you play brand new in April or in March of 2024? What games are you planning to play in April? Head over to Board Game Geek Guild 3269 or search Pick Up and Deliver Board Game Geek and you'll find it. And share your gaming from the month with the Pick Up and Deliver pals. It's season 7. I suppose we should have a nickname for you. What do you think the nickname for a listener of Pick Up and Deliver should be? I want to hear it. Include that in your post. Well, thanks for joining me on my walk today. I hope your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Bye-bye.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.